Okay, let's go. Hi, Louis. How are you?
I am really good. I'm really good. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, aren't we, Lisa?
Yeah, really good, thanks. I've just got back from working with Alex for the day, so I've kind of shot in. You know what I did on the way home? Because I've not organised the tea. I've just had a chippy. Like, what is up with me? I'm sat here, like, feeling like, I couldn't help
Nothing wrong with that.
It's okay to feel meh sometimes, don't worry. You did so well as well. We had such a healthy day, didn't we? And you had a sandwich and ruined it with a fatty chippy, never mind.
I'm dead excited to have you on, Louis, because we booked this in like what seemed, well, it seemed like ages ago, but it's actually come in really quick, hasn't it?
It has come round quick.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here. Absolute pleasure and an honour. You see, it seems to be growing nicely. So, yeah, as you say, it has come around really, really quickly. At the time, you're thinking that's a long way in advance, but no, it has come around really quickly. So, pleasure to be here.
Oh, we're really glad to have you. So let's get straight into this. And if you don't mind, if you can tell us what brought you to the point of sobriety and how long have you been sober for?
Okay, so that has been now. I know some people work in days, some people work in months. To be honest, now it's gone to a point where I have to keep checking. It's gone to check how 19 and a half months. So it was if that's right, if my maths is right, 1st of Jan 2019. And what brought me to that was in the December of 2018. We were on a golf trip in Spain, and it was a boozy golf trip, so it was exactly the same as they always were over the years. And a friend of mine, we sat in an Indian restaurant, and a friend of mine, all of us in a ridiculously hungover state, he had said that he seriously wanted to stop. Now, I know that conversation happens a lot in a hungover state, that you're in the way that you're feeling.
Every weekend.
Exactly. But this was a different conversation, and for some reason I still to this day can't fully understand how it come about. However, he had mentioned that he wanted to seriously stop. Everything was being held back because he wanted to set business up. He wanted to just make the most of his life, and he felt this was holding him back. And I didn't really have any intention to join him, other than I said, if you do it, I'll do it, to sort of give you a little support. Why not? And within 3 months, it answered virtually every question I'd ever asked, every struggle I'd ever had, the lowest points I'd had through that, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a bit. But very quickly, everything became quite clear, and I haven't really looked back since. It's been a sort of a transformation of, I'm a different person. So.
Oh, that's amazing. You're a professional, or were a professional golfer, is that right?
Yes, yeah. So that was my life from, I guess, age 15, 16, and then turned professional at 18. And I guess I've phased out over the last 6 years now, but had sort of over 10 years of professional playing and within the industry and that. So
does that generally make you a professional drinker as well then?
It goes with the territory, yeah, absolutely, 100%. And we touched on this a few times, so I'm really fortunate. I've made some great connections in sports, my passion, and all sport. And I've made some great connections recently, or certainly in this lockdown period, with fellow sports professionals in football and cricket and other walks of life. And I say unfortunately, but it goes with the territory, as I've listened to a few of your conversations you've already had, which have been fantastic, and they say the same thing. So, yes, but we try and make a change to that. We try and make a change in what we try and do. Certainly you two especially.
Oh, Angie, I've been watching some of your videos. I forgot what I was going to say now. I was going to say I've been watching some of your videos, and then I changed it because I was going to say today, because I actually watched them today, but I didn't know what I was going to say. I was going to say something completely different. So when you stopped drinking, then you kind of more did that to support somebody than your own decision. Had alcohol been negatively affecting you, where you was like, I'm going to have to stop, or was it just to help somebody else, and then you was like, oh my god, what a difference?
Alcohol had negatively affected me my whole entire life, and I chose, amongst other people, I guess, with other people, we chose to I chose to try and fit it around my life. So as much as for example, I'd been done drink driving and was in the lowest point ever, I chose to try and change the drink to fit in afterwards, and drink slower and do this to fit in, and nothing ever worked. So it was no coincidence that a year later I got done again. So in answer to, I always knew it was an issue, but in fairness, I wasn't prepared to do anything about it. And in that supporting, which I'm thankful now, in literally doing that, yes, okay, I think I can do that. And I tried it, not knowing really what the future held in regards to, I'd do the 90 days, which I signed up to in the first place. Needed a challenge. And then very quickly, I was able to work an awful lot out. And yeah, just after that 90-day period, I was able to correctly come off of antidepressants, which I've been taking for 10 years, and I'd accepted that I was always going to take them. That was part of my life. I had no problem with that. But I was able to then really dive in properly, which needed to happen, and backtrack and understand how things happened, why they happened, and hopefully then come out the other side of it, which I didn't realise it was as much of a problem as it probably was, to be honest.
I think that's what's so interesting about what you're saying as well, that something we tell everybody is, 30 days, our 30-day experiment's fantastic. In that 30 days, what you're really building is a mindset change and resilience. But if you do 90, that is the point where you suddenly get your life. I don't know what it is about the 90-day mark, but for us, we felt the same. It's like, wow, I'm not as messed up as I thought I was. It's like, and even though I do still have anxiety or depression or suicidal thoughts or whatever it might be, that I'm clearer. I'm not, I'm not clouded all the time. I'm not numbed by it. Because I think feelings can be heightened, both negatively and positively, when you're sober. And we talk about this a lot, don't we, Lisa? We say how when you take out the alcohol, you take out the numbing. But yeah, I mean, do you want to talk to us a bit about your mental health journey? Because it is a big part of what you do, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that I go back again. I've gone through some difficult times, I think, trying to piece together and have some answers as to why I felt like I did, and what was sort of behind it, and if there was anything behind it. So I think going back to sort of I've probably first started struggling as much as no one else would ever know, probably early secondary school. I loved playing all sport, and I had no problem there, and was in all the teams and progressing in the sports side, and academically I was doing okay. Managed to do okay in exams with not huge amounts of pushing in that, but I would struggle with. So there was an early death in the family. So my granddad died towards the back end of that, and I really, really struggled for a long time, and still moments now to this day, sort of 15 years down the line, I'd struggle. And then there was another death in the family, and I'd struggle with that, and we'd go away on holiday, and I'd come back and I'd want to lock myself in the room for 2 weeks. And it wasn't just like the normal, like everyone, it was a holiday blues or whatever you'd have. This was like really deep, and I couldn't quite fathom out. And everyone would say it was just normal, it's fine, get on with it. But that gradually started to get worse, and as soon as then alcohol started to be involved, I think the highs were higher and then the lows were lower, as we know. And that was when I sort of came forward, I think, or a family member at the time sort of come forward and said, we've got to do something about this. I would just go into self-destruct and go missing for days, and 2 drink driving offences because of it. And the lows were that low that there was no other option at that point I didn't want to do it, but sit down with a GP and say something's not right. And that's something I've sort of go off on another sort of path in regards to what that service was like and how I went through that. But I was diagnosed with antidepressants then, and that sort of started to level things out, as much as whether it did or it didn't. Psychologically, it was okay, but I always remember someone saying at that time to be careful of the alcohol, taking them, and I didn't. I was careful for a couple of days in regards to you'd have one with it and think that's okay, but the binges came back quickly, and then a couple of years down the line I stopped taking them, and that's when it all went pear-shaped. So have I now fully got to grips with it in regards to what it was, and how it was happening, and I'm a lot clearer on it, and I'm a lot more accepting of it all now. However, and that obviously fuels me to do what I want to try and do now. But it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice for a long time, and I probably just did loads and loads of other things as much as I could to externally show everyone that I was all right. But I was in a bad way a lot of the time. Would your
family and friends have realised that you was in a bad way, or was it something that you did kind of keep to yourself and use drink to mask it and cover it up, so everyone was like, "Oh, it's fine"?
I think early on they started to understand it, but the difficulty I had was that my dad had his own business, and it got successful quite quickly, and he had a nervous breakdown, and hence why they now live in Spain, and sort of upped and left, and that sort of threw everything up in the air from our part. And what impact that had on me at the time, I didn't think any. As I look back, I still don't think it potentially had that much of an impact, but it must have done somewhere along the line. And my mum suffered as a result of that, and then that got a bit disjointed, which I probably rebelled against as some sort of I won't say attention-seeking way, but as they moved to Spain, I got worse, and I guess in a way it was almost crying out for help as much as it as I look back, but it was selfish actions at the times I was taking.
I don't think we realise, do we, sometimes how much things do affect us when we're younger. I know myself, like, there's things now, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm 40, I should be totally over that. But actually, looking back on it, we've spoke about this on the podcast a few times, but Alex and I are having tapping sessions. So by having these tapping sessions, EFT, it's taking me right back. So like last Friday, I was tapping on things that had affected me when I was like 12 years old. And I could feel it. I could feel the pain and the sadness. And I was like, it just really surprised me. So that's obviously always been there. And I've just suppressed it and pushed it down. And then the more you drink, you push it down. So when you remove that drink, you've got to find different ways to deal with it, haven't you? So how did you find it? How did you find your first 90 days of removing drink?
Just on that front, have you gone into detail on that tapping that you're doing previously, or
we
not
did a
so
video.
much? Have you done? I heard you mention it on the previous one. It's really ironic that like 12 years ago there was a guy. It was out in Spain, and he was a golf professional, and he had gone to see this golf coach, and that was one of the methods that he was trying to use as like psychological breakthrough, that if he was under pressure or if he was getting to a point where something, and we annihilated him at the time. I look back now and thinking, this is like revolutionary. This would have changed my own life. But yeah, no, fantastic. Sorry, I digress.
No, what you were saying about the tapping though there, when we first, particularly me, right, I am the most black and white person in terms of my train of thought that you've met. So like Lisa would be more willing to give these things a go, a bit more open-minded. And I was like, are you serious, Lisa? Doing this, tapping your head's going to help you. Don't be so ridiculous. And then she's saying, no, honestly, it will. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be whilst tapping on my hand. I really kind of, I would never mock the people, but I really did kind of internally, especially mock the actual idea of being able to tap things away. And I tell you what, stupid me. That's what I'm going to say, because now
You want to tap on that?
With stupid me. Honestly, I have terrible anxiety, which you will also know from watching bits and pieces. I still suffer with it now. It's the only thing ever, including medication, that's brought me to a place where I can find calm immediately.
That is incredible. Just one quick question on that then. With the alcohol, you go back, if you were drinking, would you have still had that same mindset of I'm not, or not? Did that change like now?
I'm more open-minded to trying things now.
Yeah.
Than I was because for me, you see, the problem was with me, it's quite the opposite. I didn't know I had anxiety when I was drinking, because the anxiety must have kept my state of mind, because of the chemicals being kept depressed. It must have kept me fairly balanced. So I just thought I was a worrier. I just thought I was somebody who panicked. And when I got that panic and felt that stress, I'd have a drink, and that would calm me down. What I now know is actually it was depressing my nervous system, and I wasn't developing the anxiety because of that. So actually, anxiety, whilst it's got worse, at least now I can manage it in a healthy way, and I'm not numbing it out. So yeah.
That was like, I say I digress. You'll have to tell me the question again. But I think as you was going on the 90-day front, that's probably one of the biggest changes from me. There's a book I read early on. So this is another change, because I was never a book reader. I wanted to be, but I could never read books. And I now would class myself as a book reader. I don't read as fast as perhaps others, but
not a speed.
No, but I enjoy the process of reading books. And I think it was Mindset, the book was called, by Carol Dweck.
Oh my goodness, it's the second time this week that this has been mentioned to us. I've actually read that book, by the way, but I didn't realise other people had.
She made it just for you.
Well, I read it because I was a teacher, and in my job they said you need to teach your students how to have a growth mindset. Here's a book by Carol Dweck called Mindset. And so that I just thought that I was like one of the few that read it, and that was it. Second person this week, second man as well this week.
Wow.
I read this book.
But yeah, that is the one of the big things. The growth and fixed mindset is that, obviously being open to anything, and now it does start to be like that, and that's one of the biggest changes for me within that I am. I think it's because you cracked something that you would have never ever thought that you could have, and everyone comes up to you and says, there's, well done, congratulations, fair play to you, there's no way I could do that. And I think everyone adopts that mindset of there's no way I can do it. Yeah. And if you've cracked that, therefore the growth mindset, open to anything, well, yeah, I can do that, because I was one of them that believed I can't do that. So yeah, it's interesting. Sorry, I've gone right off. What was the original
It's
question?
All right, I don't mind. You go right off. I can't even remember. It weren't important.
was it not something about the first 90 days?
Yeah, what I wanted to know really was there anything that you found challenging to begin with drinking, with not drinking? I don't know what's up with me today. I'm like
tired. We've had a busy day. Don't worry.
And it's that fish and chips you've had as well.
Oh, don't.
Yeah. All those additives, that's what it is, the frame.
I didn't have fish. I just had chips and peas.
What was the struggles early on? The real struggles early on. A friend of mine, I failed to mention that, which is important, and he will be upset if I don't mention that. 2 years prior, a friend of mine's mum had died, young really, to cancer. It was really, really quick. And the local hospice here, he wanted to do something charity, didn't want to run a marathon. So we were both a similar drinker, that he stopped for 12 months for charity, raised loads of money, and got through that. So I had a little bit of, when we had that initial conversation in the December of, okay, like if he's done it, then I can do that. It's going to be tough, but I'm going to need to call on him, and I know he'll support me. I'll have a load of friends that will be the other way, that there's no way you're going to do that, and trying to egg the other way, if you like. But he had done that. And then, talking of the books, he had given me, he had read it, Annie Grace's book. What's the name of that book now?
This Naked Mind.
That exactly, yeah. And he said, you read this on day one. So January the 1st, read this book. And obviously I am a non-book reader. So, right, fair enough. We'll try this on day one. So that pretty much took me 90 days to read that book. However, chapter 1 or 2, I had almost brainwashed myself into being the other side, right, I've got to adopt this mindset that, that's complete poison. I'm not going to touch it. Really, really go right into this, that I don't need this, and so on. So I would have said the first 90 days were all right. The struggles happened a bit later on for me.
All right.
There was the first holiday, so that was late in the summer. That was the worst time in the whole. So just because that was the height for alcohol for me. Yeah. That was where alcohol, I was in control. That was a good positive usage of alcohol, I thought, at the time, where you dumped your bags off and you just went up and sat in wherever it might be, the Wetherspoons, whatever, at whatever hour it was. And to me at the time, it was incredible. Whatever I drank, a pint of lager, a pint of cider, it was amazing. So I built this up to like be if I can get through this, I'll do anything. And I struggled. I almost went into a massive panic attack, which I'd never experienced either. Me and my partner, we had gone to, where was we going at that time? Mallorca. And I'd sort of been introduced to alcohol-free beers. I knew that would take the edge off if I could find one. And the first bar we went to didn't have any. And I'm like, I'm seriously struggling now. And I'm looking across and there's pints of Peroni. And I'm like, there's no way I can't do this. I'm just going to have a drink. And hopefully, you won't tell anyone. It was that sort of idea. And I'm like, what is going on? And fortunately enough, I managed to find I can't remember what it was at the time, Brewdog Nanny State, I think it was, alcohol-free IPA or something, that someone said, we've got this down the bottom of the fridge. There was one they'd had there for 25 years, it looked like. And I had 2 sips of that and I was all right. And that was it. I had done it, really. That was the one.
Did you enjoy the holiday?
What?
Loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because apart from the alcohol craving, it sounds like the craving got in the way, but once you got over that craving, did you find a sober holiday was actually a really good experience?
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I didn't struggle once. And my partner, her drinking's come down now anyway, but she doesn't really drink a huge amount. But yeah, loved every minute of it. Not at one point really did I ever even contemplate it. It was weird. Went from panic attack to like that, overcome that one, and that's me sort of done now. However, I have an interesting question as well. in the fact of I still am like, never say never. Do I come back years down the line as a controlled alcohol drinker? Now, at the moment, the answer is no. But I don't want to just put that pressure on myself. How do you see yourselves in that bracket going forward?
I'll never ever touch drink again. And it wasn't as he like, I knew actually quite early on, and I'm all or nothing anyway. But by the time I'd stopped drinking, and then after I'd kind of started reading like the Annie Grace and you know, things like that, I thought, you know what, I don't think I want to drink again. Now and again, and I'd be lying if I said it didn't cross my mind to think in the future, well, I couldn't now anyway, we run the sober experiment for goodness. You know what I mean? Like, me and Alex have laughed and said, I wonder what everyone would do if we just went out and got absolutely pissed. Do you know?
Said this is the pissed experiment.
We have, haven't we? But I can honestly say there's nothing. The things that I feel that I've achieved on a personal level, from a business point of view, from my family business, my kids, everything has just been, everything good that has happened in my life, I've got to put down to sobriety. It's just amazing. And because of the education that we do around workplaces now and with rehab centres and schools, and because of everything we know, it's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. So it just wouldn't do anything for me now. So when people say like, would you moderate, or why don't you just have a couple of drinks, my answer is just like, why? Like, why would I? What would it add? It wouldn't do anything for me. So I just can honestly say it'll be a never.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm a never, and I surprise myself even saying that now when I hear the words coming out of my mouth, because honestly, we do joke that, you know, having a few red wines and like going out in the pista, and it is a joke. But yeah, again, I'd be lying if I said that it never crossed my mind, because of course I've sat there and thought, you know what, I wonder if I just had one or two, like maybe I'd be all right. But the realistic side of me knows I wouldn't, because if I would have been, then I'd already be doing that and I wouldn't be where I am now. I would never have stopped. And in honesty, we say this as well, and we say this as part of our presentations. We have absolutely no desire to drink now, because life is so good. And don't get me wrong, this is not perfection. Lisa's had all sorts of shit go on since she stopped drinking. I've had shit go on and still have it going on. But we do with it. It would add nothing of value to my life now.
I think that's I think that is the bits you said there is like really simple. Why would I? Is now all I say all the time. It's like, okay, I don't want to put ridiculous pressure on me for the next however long I live for, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever. To say never say, it's like, whoa, no, I can't say that. Like, what? Who knows what's going to happen? But the question all the time now to myself is, why would I? And not only that, I now have I have a daughter and two stepchildren who also would say the same thing. I only need to ask them, especially my daughter, who obviously has been with me throughout the whole journey. She as long as I ask her now, I said, what do you think? Should I? And the answer's no. Why would you do that? Why would you do that, considering you've gone from there being that person to here being this person? And it's quite clearly she prefers this person. I definitely prefer this person. And that's like, why would you? Why would you?
Has it changed you as a parent, sobriety?
Absolutely, 100%. Massively. Massively, to the point where I'm reading books on that as well.
There's an avid reader.
You've gone from nothing to like
avid reader.
But when you said there, you're all or nothing. I think it's now I look at things and think, okay, I'm not overly happy with the way I'm being there, because I'm confident I can make these changes. I'm gonna have a growth mindset and listen to other people and think, yeah, I really like that and I really like that, and try and then adapt that and use that into what I feel will benefit me and the children. Whereas before, I mean, I would be the complete other end of that scale. So I was an angry person. I would not really be fully in control of dealing. I was really irrational in regards to dealing with any situation. Probably wasn't a particularly nice person to be around most of the time. And now I still have them moments and feelings of the anger or whatever, but however, I have the tools, or I've worked on the tools and techniques that will make things an awful lot better. But I would have to say that, well, what's it been, 19 months, to say that 2 years ago would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous, and to anyone else around me, really. So yes, probably one of the biggest ones that I probably don't acknowledge enough, to be honest.
It's nice to speak to a man about parenting, because we don't often get that chance. And weirdly, this series that we've got this season, it seems to be lots and lots of male guests, doesn't it, Lisa? And
yeah, which is good for me.
Make it my mission. I'm going to make it my mission to ask them all about being parents, because we don't do it enough. Like, everyone assumes it's the mum's job, the woman's job. Yeah, and actually, it's quite nice to hear from a man's perspective about being angry and grumpy. And I'm interpreting this miserable. I'm joking.
Absolutely. I mean, I went on a huge learning curve. That I've been with my partner now 7 years, and she's got two boys as well. So I now have 2 stepchildren. That was a real struggle early on, and it still is a struggle at times. However, the massive difference now is that I can have the harsh conversations with myself and as a family, as to, you know, I am struggling with that situation. How can we work it out? Rather than, which happened early on, I'll see you tomorrow at some point, and I'll be throwing up at 4 o'clock in the morning in the toilet. That sort of, which was a regular occurrence back then, and the kids laugh about it now, you know. So, yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Parenting is hard. Step parenting is on another level, I think. It's just so difficult. It puts so much pressure on you as an individual, but on your partner, you know, on your partner as well. It's just really, really difficult, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So it's good.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's good that they see the difference. I wanted to pick up on something you said before about when you was on holiday and that craving, and just, I suppose it's for people listening really, just to kind of point out or advise on, it's so important to have a plan in them situations, isn't it? Or like a plan B, because I've done that, you know, when you went and you wanted a non-alcoholic beer and then they didn't have any, it can just send you under. You don't expect it, do you? So you're like, what can I do? So yeah,
it happened to you recently, didn't it, Lisa?
It was quite a while ago, actually. It was early into my sobriety, and I was going to a hotel, and I was so excited to kind of have the non-alcoholic beer. I'd just got it in my head that, right, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go downstairs and I'll get a non-alcoholic beer, and that'll be wonderful. And I got there, and they didn't have it, and I was like, what do you mean you ain't got it?
It happened when you went to a meal, though, recently as well, with another friend, and you've...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did. We'd gone on a boozeless brunch. Just like good outing that for a sober person. And you know what?
Bottomless brunch it was.
Yeah, a bottomless. Oh yeah, not boozeless. Bottomless brunch.
You renamed it boozeless.
Yeah, boozeless.
Yeah.
That's to me now. It's like I call cocktails mocktails all the time by accident. But yeah, I'd rang up beforehand because obviously I wasn't drinking and I didn't want to make a big scene of it when I got there, and I wanted to see if I could get a discount, obviously, on my part. So they was like, yeah, no worries, we've got non-alcoholic beers in, we'll be able to do some alcohol-free cocktails. Then I had to tell them I was a vegan as well, so that was awkward. They were like, who is this woman turning up? She's going to be like... really miserable one in the corner.
Just like, forget your discount, don't come.
yeah, that's what they wanted to say. Anyway, I got there and they said, oh, we ain't got anything for you, non-alcoholic. And I was a bit mad. I did get a bit mad at that point because I was like, but I rang. I planned everything. Then they came over and they were like, the vegan dish.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me too.
It's
Thank
for
you.
the vegan who wants water in the corner. The plant.
Yeah.
There was a question there somewhere, wasn't there, Lisa?
I can't even remember now.
The craving on holiday and not having
with the planning,
Yeah.
I think it's difficult. Again, you've got to ask others on what I would. I mean, I went in that naive. I think I went in there to that completely naive, thinking, yeah, I bought these from the supermarket. I've been a couple of places. I like that one. I don't like that one. And there must be some there, surely. However, then you quickly, again, I was committed, so you're quickly adapting to what other go-to drinks. But really, I should have had 3 or 4 that I know are go-to that I can just go, yeah, I can have one of the go-tos was cranberry juice and tonic, which I could have as a gin and tonic with load of ice. No one would ask any questions. You gin and tonic, if needs be. Think what you, and yeah, it was because one of my go-to. I've probably lost that. The go-to now is coffee, but not too much. I can go to that. But if you go to some places and they go to coffee,
Alex.
yeah, not too much because that starts having an effect on my body and heart rate and stuff as well now. But yeah, you go there again, or you're too late, and they've said the coffee machine's turned off, and it's the same situation. It's
so annoying. That's really annoying. Like, why you've not turned the beer pumps off? Why have you turned the coffee machine off?
Absolutely.
But, Alex, we've both worked behind bars, and I used to think people were weird that ordered coffee.
I used to hate that. We worked together, right, in Lisa's mum's pub when we were teenagers, and they had this beautiful coffee machine. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to swear, I fucking hated it. I really hated it. You had to clean it all out and put the right amount of coffee in it. Really pissed me off. When anyone ordered one, I know. Look how mad I am. Hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm tapping. No, seriously. It really made me mad, this machine. And Lisa's right. I used to believe, like probably most people, that pubs are for drinking alcohol in. Why are you in a pub? Go to Costa. Think that now, obviously. So I'm being like, obscene now.
You move from fixed to growth mindset.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine now? I mean, I couldn't be any more different now. Now I massively value the coffee machine. I take back everything bad I ever felt.
Yeah, but you have issues with coffee, and can we just point out, because I'm trying to get
addressing my coffee issues.
Yeah, but we need to address this coffee issue because, like Louis said, it has effects on your heart rate, palpitations. So when we started tapping, and I remember Jules quite clearly saying to Alex, like, you drink how many cups a day?
Right. It was 18 cups, and I used to take one to bed.
And then she wonders why she's got anxiety, Louis.
I am honestly down to 3 to 5 a day now. I am.
Oh, that's okay.
That generally, if I'm in company, I will drink more because I do it automatically. But generally speaking, I'm on no more than 5 a day now, and I certainly don't drink it at night. Although I have just had one.
See what I mean?
Right, but you know what? I will accept something here. My heart was always 57.
Oh, stop.
No, it was. And I'm a bit bigger, but, I'm no less fit, and it's always in the high 70s now.
Do you think denial? She's like, before you stop drinking and you don't think you're a problem, and you said to people, oh, actually, I don't need to stop drinking because I don't have a problem. This is where Alex is with coffee. Oh, I've always been like that. Coffee doesn't affect me, she says. But then on the other hand, there's the look at her face on the anxiety. Right, moving swiftly to coffee. So, right, look, it's a question that we always ask people. And it's like the worst time of our lifetime to ask this question. But what's your social life like now?
You taking the piss?
You're having a laugh.
What was it like? Had you like to have fun?
In fairness, there is a good answer actually over this period, in the fact that my social life is, ironically, is probably the best it is, because my social life is on my terms.
Yeah.
I did not realise, and these are the conversations again when you have with other people in that same situation, that once you're in it, you don't realise that the relationships were definitely a lot of the time with the alcohol and not with the people.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, and this lockdown period has proved that more than ever, in the fact of you couldn't go and do that. So you very quickly realise the people you stay in contact with, and not only that, the people you want to stay in contact with, and provide value just as you provide value back to them. So my social life is probably the best it ever has been, in the fact that it doesn't revolve around the relationship with alcohol. That was the social life as I reflect back on it, if that makes.
Yeah, definitely. What's your golf skills like?
You froze then, Lisa.
Oh, sorry. What's your golf skills like? Are they better?
Well, I came out of that completely. So after about 10 years or so. That's a great question as well. Thanks for asking that. Because I came out of it not enjoying it in the slightest. I wanted to be as far away from it as possible. Didn't want to have any conversations with anyone about it. Just literally washed my hands of it completely. Went and sold cars for a living. Ironically, I just applied for a load of jobs. Sold cars with Mercedes, which at the time, which was like a fantastic experience. Really lucky to get that job. And over the last 6 months, I guess, I went back and started. I thought, I'm locked down, we can't really do anything else. I will go and have a game of golf. And since then, I have played at least once a week throughout that whole time, which I haven't done even when I was playing full time. For the back end of it, I was working in a pro shop, and you didn't play a lot then, and thoroughly enjoy it like I did when I was 15, 16.
Oh, brilliant.
Incredible, really.
That's dead nice. That makes me happy, that.
I didn't even put that down to being alcohol-free either. Until this point, you've just asked that question, when I go, yeah, it must just be because, life's changed and I've had 4 or 5 years out of it, or 4 years or whatever it's been out of it, and I see it a little bit differently. But yeah, I see it as I do everything else now. So that comes down to that as well. Brilliant.
Isn't it good that, with like when you give up alcohol, this is what everybody we ever speak to says, they either get back into something they enjoyed or they find something new. And it seems, just from speaking to you for a little bit, that you're a reading golf player.
Reading golf, working on parenting. Yeah. Yeah, you put them two boring things together. That's what people would say. You read books and whack a ball around a field.
That's nearly as bad as a sober vegan.
So listen, everybody, everyone who's listening, Lewis's new book on how to hit a ball will be out.
Whoa, yeah, brilliant.
If he can manage to control his kids, that is. Oh, you know what though? Seriously, I am kind of, obviously I was joking then, but to be able to find passion in something you enjoyed again, and to be able to do something that you never thought you'd enjoy, that's now giving you such benefits, it's so amazing, isn't it? I'm the same with music was my thing, and I just for so long forgot that, and it's slowly but surely creeping back into my life, and I can actually feel myself wanting to take the piano back up again and thinking, geez, Alex, you've got no time to be playing the bleeding piano. But it's not happened. But feel those things from my past igniting again and wanting to get back to them.
You must do that also, because they are they are I admire anyone that can play the piano. That
She's
is
so
a serious,
musically talented, you know. Like I don't think people know on our podcast this, do they? But
they don't.
She can sing really, really well. She can. When we were teenagers, I was always fascinated by it because we were always doing like rebellious stuff together, right? And then she had a massive organ in her kitchen. Like in this kitchen with this.
Stop talking about my organ.
But she used to be able to play this organ like so beautifully. Then she played the clarinet. You played what else? The flute. Did you not play the clarinet? Oh,
no.
I played that one.
Yeah, I played the clarinet.
Oh, I fell off my chair then. But yeah, you are really musically talented.
It's been a long time. I think my dad was a professional musician, a semi-professional musician, and you probably don't know this unless you've read it, but my dad was an alcoholic, and he was sober for 10 years before he died. He actually died 11 years ago, but he was an absolutely brilliant man in terms of he was a brilliant man anyway. He was very clever, very intelligent, lovely man, and brilliant at music. And the last time I sang was when it was my birthday. I think it was my 30th birthday party, and I sang the Everly Brothers' Dream with my dad. He played guitar, and we sang a duet together. And after he died, I kind of refused to do it after that, but I've started doing it again. I've started singing again.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's incredible. You must do that. I mean, there's another industry though, isn't it? I mean, especially if you're busking, performing in pubs, whatever. I mean, they're the places you will perform: pubs, clubs, nightclubs, whatever it may be. There's another industry that's heavy geared round alcohol alongside it, isn't it? They go together, just as the sport world is the same. But
well, that's what
you must do that.
That's what took him, because his hours were always evenings in clubs, and he drank, and that's what he did. And that's how he got slowly sucked into the addiction of alcohol, as you say, like many people in those kind of professions. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to promise that you'll ever see me singing anywhere, but I'm doing it and I'm enjoying it, and I'm doing it for myself. And yeah, do you remember?
I'll be following that up.
Things like, sing, Alex, sing for me.
Oh, I used to always make her sing when we were younger, and she promised that she'd sing at my funeral, didn't you?
but I've decided that I'm going before you now, so you might have to sing at mine.
No, I won't do that. There's
no,
not a chance. I love you, Alex, but no.
Okay,
at your funeral, then you'd be well sad.
Oh, don't stop talking about it. I'm all about death. Which to work on. Right. So anyway, moving on. Before we kind of wrap this up, Louis, can you tell us about your coaching that you've started, what you're doing there, and like where people can find you? Because we'd love lots of people to come over and follow you on Instagram.
Thank you. Yes, that is at the Sharing Experience. I have a notebook here that I wrote down all the things that I wanted to do on around that 90-day mark, being stuck in a job and unsure as to what to do, but that obviously led me to do that. And I wrote down a couple of bits. The task was to help anyone else possible by using and sharing my own experiences, sharing new experiences learned along the way that can benefit others. And again, 2-3 years before that, writing that sort of thing would have not been non-existent. And it was like, hang on a minute, how do I make this happen? How do I make that happen? I've written it down. What if it could happen? And I set the Instagram page up to just start sharing my own experiences, how I was feeling, and then dug fully into everything I possibly could to try and provide that service. So yes, it's at the Sharing Experience, where I'm providing on a one-to-one basis currently. There are plans to change that going forward, but on a one-to-one basis where we'll just have a casual chat as we've just done there, and see if we can relate and then put some tools and experiences and techniques that helped me transform to where I am now. And hopefully that can make the difference to a few other people out there as well. Obviously, my background is in the sport world, which I feel probably is where I will end up. I think that would be ideally where I'd like to end up. But at the end of the day, I really see a massive benefit, and probably have found full purpose in myself in helping other people in any way, shape or form. So please, feel free at the sharing experience comment. There's some very amateur videos from day one that you start to get a little bit better and a little more confident in getting the message across. But the journey's on there. It was my way of documenting it, and now we've got some clients on board that are very, very kindly explaining the differences that are being made, which is incredible. So yes, please do.
It is really incredible, and I think it's lovely. I've not actually heard of anybody that is talking or directing their journey to people in sport, and I suppose that's a really big thing. There's so many people that we hear about just on the news. You see these old sports legends drinking. It's like it goes hand in hand, like you said before, doesn't it? So it's really nice that you can offer your journey, and I think the biggest help to anybody is when you share your own experiences. And
that's it. That's where I sort of have tried to come from. I'm learning all the time, and I will be putting in as much as I can into providing as much value as I can. But the thing I've always found myself is that I can always relate to someone who's been there, and someone who I can believe has been there, and can tell me, their story, which I didn't think was possible, but I'm open and honest and to put that out and do that. So as I say, I think channel that into the sport world, and again to narrow it down, where I'd love to go into would be the 18, 19, 20-year-old version of myself, who has them dreams to move on, and just needs that little bit of I guess educating on some of the things not to do and why not to do them, and here's what happened to me and here's how that held me back, sort of thing. So anything is, as you both know now, anything is possible. Anything is possible if you can get the right people around you and take the small steps consistently.
It really is. Thank you so much, Louis. It's been so lovely to meet you.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure too. We'll keep in touch as well, and I will be pushing. I'll be holding you accountable for the music. You must pursue that.
She ain't got time.
No.
I do think you should get a piano, though. You definitely should do that, Alex.
I might. We'll see. Watch this space. I'll see if I can fill it with a piano.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me on. Keep up with what you're doing as well. It's great to see. Inspirational. Really, really good.
And really likewise, good. We wish you absolutely all the best. You definitely deserve it. It's a lovely journey that you're sharing, and we hope that people who follow us pop over and follow you as well. Thanks again for coming on.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye, ladies.
Bye.